Hey guys, Nathan Chan here. Welcome back to another episode of the Founder Podcast. Today we're joined by Richmond Din. He's come down all the way from Sydney. This is his third trip to Melbourne here in the studio to talk about everything selling coaching services, getting more clients, launching a digital product business. I met Richmond over a year ago now, and he's the absolute master of teaching people how to launch digital products, how to just get more clients, but then also how to do challenges. And he's got this incredible model called the Tiny Challenge model. I think it's game changing. And if you want to launch a digital product business, you're going to learn a lot. So Richmond, thank you so much for coming here, man.
Oh, thanks for having me. And flying to Melbourne has been pretty easy because most of the podcasts that I'm on go to the States, go to Boise. I was in one in Tampa, and it's just, so this was a really easy flight down. So I'm glad to be here.
So dude, tell me, how did you get into selling digital products online, and doing coaching and consulting and services? So this is a pretty hot space now, and there's a lot of people coming into this space. There's a lot of people that want to know how to get clients. They want to know how to sell their services or their digital products. But how did you get your start? Because you were a dentist, right?
Optometrist.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, optometrist. Yes.
Yeah. But my dad thinks I should be a dentist. Yeah. Well, but you're right. It's a really hot space because it's so easy to get into, the lower barrier entry. But it's not the reason why I got in. As you know, being Asian descent, become a doctor, a dentist, an optometrist, a pharmacist, a lawyer, or a failure. And I don't think, well, no offense if you're an optometrist watching this, but I don't think many people will say, when I grow up, I want to be an optometrist. That's a kind of weird profession to want to become. And but I was that for 10 years because I was pleasing my parents and doing the good boy thing, the cultural thing. But I always knew that there was something more for me, and I just didn't know what it was. And then I started getting life coaching and going to Tony Robbins and stuff, and I realized maybe this is what I want to do. Maybe I just want to help people, discover their purpose and all that. So I fell into the whole digital space through that avenue because I just did not want to become an optometrist anymore. And I think most people watching this will be like, well, maybe they're going through a change or a season in their life, but they're not sure what the next step is. They just know this is not their calling. And I just went on this mission 8 years ago to try to find what my pathway was.
And there's a lot more to that story because I remember you telling me, and you were down to your last dollar or something.
Yes, yeah. Thank you for bringing it up. I don't think I've ever told this story publicly like this before, actually. So I did all the right things. Went to uni, valedictorian, high school ducks, got one of the top marks in optometry, biggest award that I could get. Became a self-made millionaire in my 20s, bought 12 properties, did really well. And then, when you don't have a purpose for money, money has no purpose. I didn't have a purpose for money, and so what was I going to do with all the money? So I became reckless with it in the sense that I thought, well, this didn't really fulfill me. And the next 3 properties I bought high-risk mining town properties because I just thought, because I could have cashed in. At one point, I could have cashed in and done really well. And thought, why? If I cash in, then what? Because I didn't have any purpose for money. And so I bought 3 mining town properties, and then within 6 to 12 months, the whole industry collapsed, which means the properties collapsed. I had $1.4 million in debt that couldn't be serviced because they weren't getting rented. And suddenly that leverage led to me almost going bankrupt. When I say almost going bankrupt, I was actually seeking bankruptcy. So I was seeing insolvency practitioners, going to bankruptcy lawyers, seeking all my options. And I had $50,000 cash in my bank. And when you go bankrupt, they're going to take it all. And so what do you do when you're about to go bankrupt and you've got 50K cash? Well, you can't buy a car because they have to sell the car. You can't buy an asset because they'll sell the asset. And I wasn't I don't gamble. I'm going to go to Las Vegas and, you know what I mean? And I'm not I'm going to spend it all on drugs or that wasn't me. So I decided to spend it, the first 5,000, I decided to spend it on Tony Robbins. I'm like, okay, well, may as well just learn about myself. I don't know. And I remember walking out of that event and I bought the upsell, which was a $15,000 program. And I thought, well, I've got to spend my $50,000. And then that led me down the road of, hang on a sec, maybe this is not my destiny of going bankrupt. I started to find the belief that I could get out of any hole that I put myself into. And then I started reading books on people who were down to their last dollar and got out of it. And then I realized that bankruptcy was me just giving in. And then I got life coaching, and I invested in another coach, which was $25,000. And basically, my whole $50,000 I invested in myself. And the byproduct of that was believing that I could get my way out. And that, after that whole year process, at the end I said, I'm not going bankrupt. I'm going to find my way out of this. And how I got out was leverage got me in that mess. And the only way was to get out was leverage. But I basically built up the belief that I could get out by starting a business, because I was paying $60,000 every year negative to the properties I couldn't service. And I was only earning $120,000 a year. And I had a family. And so it was only a problem because I wasn't earning enough. See? And I thought that was the biggest distinction. If my properties were only costing me, say, $3,000 a year, and I'm earning $120, I wouldn't care. I would just still be an optometrist. But it's all relative. Like, that debt was only a problem because I wasn't earning enough. And I thought the way to get out of this is just to earn $1 million a year. I know it sounds simple, but actually that is a smart idea. So I could go bankrupt and still be on $120,000 income as an optometrist, or I could find a way to earn $1 million a year where the $60,000 wouldn't even matter anymore. And that's kind of what I did. That's why I went into business and became an entrepreneur and got into coaching. So yeah, I did spend all my last dollar on myself.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I'd just love to delve a little deeper on that story. So in your 20s, you were buying investment properties. Like, how did you work all of that piece out?
Self-learning. I didn't invest in mentorship. I bought this book called 7 Steps to Wealth from John Fitzgerald. That was my first book. Back then there were infomercials, you know, and he was the guy. I kind of read a bit of his book, and I just kind of understood the philosophies of, you know, the Australian property market. Buy, 10 years later it doubles, draw the equity out. Like, it was simple maths to me. Yes. And so it felt simple, but obviously there's more to the game because I made a lot of mistakes.
Yes. So, so you were still an optometrist, and you were just doing that on the side.
Yeah, it was my way to get out. Yeah, because I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I didn't want to be optometrist for the rest of my life. So I had to figure out a way to create income to do something. But it's funny, when I got there, I didn't know what I was going to do with it. That's the problem. Money doesn't have a purpose if you don't have a purpose for money. And I had no purpose for money. And so I got there and I didn't know what to do. And so I just did dumb stuff with it. Like what? Buy those 3 mining town properties. Didn't cash in, didn't have a plan, and didn't even have a purpose. Didn't know what I was going to do in my life. So I knew that was a bad thing to do intuitively, but I just thought, well, what else am I going to do with my money? Let's just roll the dice and see where it takes me, you know? So that was the situation.
Yeah. Okay. So eventually you got into the coaching space, and you started to get into the digital product space. And you quote unquote have a, was it 6 Pete, 7 Pete?
You watch the trading, yeah. This Michael Jordan's 6 championship rings. Who's that NFL player? He's got 7. Tom Brady. He's got 7. I don't think anyone in the industry's got we've got an 8 Pete now, an 8 Pete. So since then, 8 years ago, we've launched 8 courses, and every single course has been successful. When I say successful, it's made 6 figures or more, and some have made multiple 7 figures. So we've never launched a course since I started that has failed, and that came from the very first course I launched, which was called Bamboo Life Coaching, and that made like $495,000 from just life coaching, and then we had my passion project. So we've just, I don't know. At this point, probably wouldn't call it luck, but at the time I probably was like, oh, that's pretty good. Let's try it again. So that's where the 8 P comes from.
Yeah. It's something you always remember, right? So it's really clever. So obviously you have a process, right? And for many people watching or listening to this, it seems like a really lucrative space, right? And it's massive. You see, you know, school, you see WOP, you see Kajabi, you see all these different platforms teaching how you can make money online by selling a digital product. You make 100% margin. It's mainly profit. Obviously, pros and cons to every business model, right? But talk me through kind of what does it take to launch a successful course? Like, because usually in these businesses, you have to be a personality, right? You have to have an audience, you have to have a following, right? So talk me through that, and you've come up with a model that allows people to bridge that gap, that you don't have to be a super well-known personal brand or have a huge following to generate or to make 5, 10, 15, 20,000, like to generate a decent income from selling a course or selling a coaching program, or all these things that are age. So talk me through that.
Yeah, good. This is a great question, and it's really to get yourself out of the vanity metrics. Of course, everyone feels good when they have 1 million followers, and it feels good when they're semi-famous, or it feels good when they're around cool people, and those are the metrics. But those don't really necessarily make you money. Or we all know someone that's got 1 million followers but they're broke, and vice versa. Someone's got 10,000 followers but they're crushing it. So getting out of the vanity metrics, number one. But this, I guess it stemmed from my first mentor, Scott Harris. He said, like, Richmond, if you can count more than close friends on one hand, then you got too many friends. You only need 5 exceptionally close friends. And who you spend time with is who you become. And I thought, wow, that's so powerful, because I used to grow up thinking I want to be Mr. Popular. I used to envy people who had 100 friends, 200 friends. I used to envy people who have a birthday and they got 300 people there, and my birthday's only got 6 or 7 people. But then I soon realized, and I know, as you grow up, like 5 really close type friends, the power of that is 100, 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times more powerful than having 100 acquaintances or 100 people who don't really know who you are. And when I realized that the strengths are in the quality of small relationships that you have, and I call this your loyal 100 when it comes to coaching, you can build $1 million business by just having a small amount of raving fan clients who will just buy anything because they trust you so much and they're on the journey with you. And this is how we developed the tiny challenge model, based on the concept of you can go big by just starting tiny. And I would rather have 5, 10, 15, 20 clients who would just vouch for you until the day you retire or the day you die, rather than 1 million people who think you're kind of okay. You know what I mean?
So how'd you come up with this? And talk me through how it works.
Yeah, and this is like, so we were helping our students, get clients online, and we were teaching them like what I was doing, because I was doing group challenges and all that. And someone were getting results, someone weren't. And for me, the number one thing in business, because I think you asked like what's the most important in business, is being obsessed with your client results. Like client result obsession will drive everything. And so to get clients online, you can run a webinar, you can run a masterclass, you can run a virtual event, you can run a workshop, you can run a group challenge, you can do a podcast, you can do so many things. But when you're starting, all those things are overwhelming because it requires setup, skill, connections, a following, speaking, leads, marketing, sales, all those things to do. And when you're starting out, number one, you don't have those skills. And number two, it's very overwhelming on which one to do. And if you do it, you're not going to do it well, so it flops. So I asked myself, like, what's the fundamental, most basic thing a beginner coach can do to make money online, which does not require those skills at all? And at the time, everyone was kind of doing group challenges, 20, 30, 50, 100 people. I know you got thousands in yours, which is crazy. But to a beginner, that's very hard. And I thought, well, what if they just did a one-on-one challenge with them and one other person? That would mean they don't have to market it. They don't have to fill up a room. They don't have to worry about the tech. They can just do it on their phone if they're not good with Zoom. They don't have to worry about the skill of speaking because they only speak to one person. They don't even have to worry about selling much because reciprocity is so high, and that does the selling. They don't even have to be super clear on the niche or the messaging because they can just get clear on it through that anyway. And it just removes all the stress and all the overwhelm from getting started. And that's how what is called a tiny challenge was born, just through the simplicity of let's just start small and have a strong raving fan base and go from there. And that's what was created out of that a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So if somebody wants to get their first 5 clients, you recommend the tiny challenge model.
Yeah, it is the easiest, simplest way to get started. You don't need a big list. So let's just say you you just ask 5 people that you may know, or put a post out or something like that, and they say, yeah, I'll do a one-on-one 5-day challenge with you, one-on-one, 30-minute calls. They could be 45 minutes, one-on-one.
For free?
For free.
Or you
Yeah,
charge?
no, for free. I would recommend for free because you can charge, but then you got to go through the whole process of they're justifying what they're paying for. Remember, nobody knows who you are. You're just starting out. It's one-on-one for free. And I know why people want to charge though, because it's like, what if I get a tire kicker? What if I get a time waster? And I'll give you like an analogy. So in the personal training space, like most personal trainers, you go to a gym and they give out a free 30-minute discovery session, like a free 30-minute training session. If you love it, at the end they pitch you 10 sessions for $700.
Yeah.
That's the model, and they'll probably need to give out 10 free sessions to sell one package, to sell a $700 program. Imagine the personal trainer gave out a 5-day one-on-one challenge at the gym to one person rather than just a free 30-minute session, right? Now, at the end of those 5 days, that personal trainer is going to know everything about that person. What have they tried? Where have they failed? What are they willing to do or not willing to do? What are their diets like? What's their environment? How do they like to train? Are they a morning person, night person? What's their biology like? Their goals, their aspirations, everything about them. And at the end of those 5 days, they've been held accountable, but they get this one thing that they don't get from one session. They get progress. And for the first time, they got progress that they've never got before from a 5-day one-on-one challenge with the accountability. At the end of that, that personal trainer can pitch them a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 program for 12 months to hit their goals. If they're a woman, I just want to fit into that dress again that I had before kids, because since I had kids, I could never fit into that dress again. Boom. Mary, in 12 months' time, I can get you there through what we've done today. How does it sound? $2,500, $3,000. They're like, I'm all in. Because you know everything about them. There will be no more broke personal trainers. But to what we're talking about, time wasters, if someone approached you at the gym and said, would you like to do a 5-day one-on-one challenge with me? I'm not doing it unless I'm ready to get my ass beaten up that week. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, do I really want this? It's like that for a 5-day, like, you know, mindset challenge or confidence challenge or whatever challenge it is. To do it one-on-one, it takes like, whoa. Like that's, so you actually weed out all the time wasters. There's no one going to your 5-day tiny challenge to waste your time, because it's like, I'm not going to do a 5-day fitness challenge if I didn't want to sweat that week. I'm going to be up for it.
You feel guilty.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. The reciprocity is so high because it's so tailored. And when you're starting out, the biggest lack of clarity you have is, I don't even know what I'm really teaching. I'm not really sure on their pain points. And I actually don't really know what they want. And they tell you everything they want on call number 1. That's part of the framework. And then you know how to craft the days for them, and you know how to craft an offer exactly to what they want. And if you did that 5 times, you're going to get 3 people that buy. The conversions are so high because you're tailoring the experience. And let's just say you got 10 people doing a tiny challenge and you convert 3, 4, 5 people and you got a $3,000 program. That is your first $15,000 online, and you never needed to learn how to speak. Never needed to learn the tech. You did not have to have a big list. You didn't have to have a brand. You didn't have to be clear in your niche or your messaging. You didn't have to do a launch. What day should I start? It's convenient. You just start anytime, any day. You just agree on the 5 calls, because there's no, should I launch? What about Christmas? What about Easter? What about long weekend? All that kind of stuff. The flexibility is huge.
And so this is what you help people implement, one of many things. And I think it's such a clever model, because I can see all the barriers where people get stuck, right? You've got to, start a podcast, like, and all these different things. You've got to build an audience, but the way that you do it, it could be just friends of friends.
Right? Yeah. Or even just do a post, and if they've got one person that liked it, there you go. You got your first tiny challenge. Like you don't. If you got 100 likes on a post, you'll be overwhelmed, because it's potentially like, now I've got a lot of people that actually want to do this. Where do I even start? So that's a good problem, but you don't need that problem.
So if we just rewind a second, for anyone that's watching this or listening, thinking about starting a business in the digital product space, but they don't know what topic, or they don't feel confident enough to coach or teach, they don't feel like an expert. Like what? Like, because that's a common thing.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So they don't feel like an expert. They don't feel confident. The only way to get clear on what you want to teach is actually go out there and just teach it. So for example, I think most people starting out have maybe an idea of what they might want to do. So they may be like, I'm a corporate woman. I could coach corporate women. I'm also a single mom. I could do that. I'm also like a victim of abuse. I could do that as well. Like I could do all of them. Oh, you know what? Like I come from an Asian background. I could coach like Asian moms. I'm not sure. And so they got like 3, 4, 5 options. And the awesome thing about running a tiny challenge is that you just pick one from every avatar, run a tiny challenge to each of them. There's no risk because you're not doing a big launch. You're not doing a marketing ad campaign where you have to get your message right. And guarantee after doing 3 or 4 different avatars, you will know which one you want to coach. It's so safe. It's so risk-free. You can get started. And at the end of the day, you're giving out 5 calls one-on-one for free. And even if you're not super clear and confident what you're doing, you get the feedback from the first person and you might get a testimonial and you'll learn something about yourself through that process. There's no risk-free way to do it, because imagine doing it to 10 people. Like, that's scary, but one person, it's all good.
And what about this industry? Like, let's talk to that, because one thing I love about you is that you worked this out, tiny challenges, from the obsession of client results. But unfortunately in this space, there's a lot of scrupulous individuals. It has a bad name. Like, let's be real. Like, even for founders, like, we have a coaching program, and you know, we have a lot of skeptics. We have a lot of people that come through us and they've been burnt, and like, yeah, it's easy for people to get started. Like, it's not. It's really tough. I'd love to hear your take on all of that. Yeah, and that obsession with client results. Like, a lot of people unfortunately don't have that.
That's, yeah. Well, yeah, I know. I'm optimistic. I like to think they do, but you're right. They don't. And we've all been scammed before. Like, pay money and then suddenly there's no deliverables, or it's not what I expected, or whatever it is, right? So we've all been there before. I know this might sound weird saying this. I think it's a good thing that, you know, the industry has a bad name because there's so many unethical people about it, because that means it doesn't take much to succeed. If you have integrity and you're obsessed about client results, you are guaranteed, well, I say guaranteed, you know, with a caveat, but you are almost guaranteed to succeed because you are so different from everybody else. Whereas if everybody was obsessed with client results, yes, the industry will have a good name, but then it'll be harder for you to succeed because everybody's obsessed. So I think it's a good thing that, you know, for anyone watching this, they're thinking, oh my gosh, like it's such a bad name. But if you really just have integrity with that and have that as your primary focus and have this long-term approach, then you're going to crush it.
Yeah. So look, it's really rewarding coaching somebody and then helping them grow and helping them succeed. And I personally don't do any one-on-one coaching. I did in the early days, founder, funnily enough. I remember when I was first getting started with the magazine, people used to hit me up more than they do now, funnily enough. Or no, I don't know. Look, a lot of people hit me up now, but like, yeah, I did do some coaching just for fun and pay the bills, and it was more a little bit of consulting and stuff. So it's a really good side income as well. And there's a lot of platforms now that you can go to. Like, there's one that I'm on that I just signed up for recently, got accepted, Intro. I'm just checking that out. Have you seen that? No. Or a lot of famous founders, like you know, the founder of Reddit as an example, he's on there, and you can, you know, do calls with him regularly for like a couple of $1,000s an hour type thing. Like, but like it is a thing, right? Like, more than ever, people do coaching, consulting, and things on the side. But the number one thing I find is either you know your skill, you don't know your skill, and how you're going to help people. But if you do, then it's how to get clients.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I want to move to the next piece of the puzzle for you is, how do you scale? Right? Like,
that's okay, so we cleared the time waster thing.
Yeah. Like how do you scale? How do you scale a coaching business? Because you see a lot of people doing it. You see all this stuff with the Lamborghinis, all that kind of stuff. But like, how do you do it the authentic, real, legitimate way?
Yes. So, and I just ran a 3-day event, and I introduced this concept called the Loyal 100. Like, your goal, I believe, to remove the stress and overwhelm. If you set a goal to build out your Loyal 100, like Russell Brunson talks about the Dream 100, which is like the dream network, I talk about your loyal 100, which is your dream 100 clients, like your first 100 clients that would just, they're raving fans, they do anything for you, they vouch for you, they're your best testimonials, they're the best people to work with. Go to build your loyal 100. That's number one. But so people think of scaling as this big thing, but if you have 100 people paying you $10,000 a year, you're on $1 million. And you're on a very, very good life. You're on a very, very good life. And so
margins too.
Yeah, huge. There's not much operational stuff involved with that. So
typically, what sort of margins would you want to run at?
Yeah, at $1 million, you'd be on running 80% margins easy.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah, especially through Tiny Challenge, like for sure, because you don't have to do paid marketing or anything. You don't have to have big stuff going on.
Yep. Okay. All right. So you want to find 100 loyal clients. How do you do that? Like what does that take? Like how do you get clients to be so loyal? Obviously, besides getting them results.
Yeah. Cool. So journey to 1,000 miles begins with one step. So it always starts with one client. And the best way to get a client that becomes a raving fan from day one is what you've done with them before they paid you money. People always give you their time before they give you their money. And there's two things to that. How much time have they given you? But then how much quality time have they also experienced with you? And in a Tiny Challenge, they get both. They've given you time, but it's been quality time because it's one-on-one. And there is no bigger baked in raving fan method before the transaction than that. So that's your first loyal 100. And you just do that 100 times. And before you know it, it is really easy, really quick. And you still haven't learned how to do the tech. And you still haven't learned how to do all those things and a big list and stuff. And they'll be raving fans for forever.
Yeah. Okay. So can you manage, though, 100 clients just yourself?
Probably not. Or you can, but can you manage it well? No. So there's... So, if people are parents, right, having one child is difficult. Having two gets a bit easier when they start, when they're like 3 and 4, the first couple of years is always, but then everybody knows, because I got 3 daughters, the third one after the age of 3, it's passive parenting. You don't parent anymore after 3, because they just all play with each other. So if you got great values, great culture, great leadership, and provided your kids get along, but generally, kids don't always get along because they don't have to. But in a coaching program, it's all unified, they're all the same problem. So it actually gets easier to manage at a certain point. It's harder to manage 3 or 4 clients because they're all single child. Yes. But once you get to 10, 12, 15, 20, that becomes super easy, especially 30, because now culturally they're all kind of starting to look after it. Someone posted a question in the Facebook group. It's you didn't even have to answer it because someone just jumped in and answered it for you. Whereas you got 3 or 4 people, there's not many people to jump in and answer it. You know what I mean? And so for me, we've got in our inner circle almost 200 people now, but I rarely have to answer a question. And if I do want to answer a question, I don't even get there quick enough because there's so many people just wanting to jump in and help. So it's not as hard managing 100 people as you think, but you do want to have tiers of leadership. You want to have people in the community who are, great stewards of yours, and they're just people that they're the go-to points, and they're school captains or prefects, that kind of stuff. So that's how you start to build it out.
Yep. Okay. And then talk to me around, I guess, group coaching versus one-on-one.
Yeah. Well, you can't scale one-on-one coaching, right?
Yep. Well, unless you have other coaches.
Yeah. Yes, that's correct. 100%. Yes, you can, unless you have other coaches, and that builds complications because then they don't coach like you, and people just want you, and all that kind of stuff. So there are 2 ways to scale one-on-one coaching: is either have other coaches doing it for you, or to go to group coaching. Now, the pros and cons of each. We all know one-on-one coaching gives you the deepest transformation, and so I thought, okay, what happens after Tiny Challenge? It's not scalable. You're doing one-on-one coaching 5 days, and then you sell them a program which probably involves some one-on-one coaching. So how do you scale it? So what I did last year was I ran a Tiny Challenge one-on-one, but I got permission from the person sitting in the hot seat. said, hey, look, would it be okay if I had 5 or 6 people just come in the same Zoom room and watch me coach you one-on-one, and they all had the same problem. And so by me solving that problem to that person being hot seated, it solved the problem for everyone else in the room, except I wasn't coaching them. It wasn't group coaching. They were just observing me sitting in what I call a shadow seat to watch me coach them one-on-one. Now, the cool thing about that is they get the transformation, they get the value, but when I do the offer presentation at the end, I'm not just offering it to one person, I'm offering it to whoever is sitting in the shadow seat. And so that's how you scale one-on-one coaching with the same benefits of one-on-one coaching.
Yes. And then your program would be group then?
It would be a hybrid.
Yes. Okay. Got you. So I guess another piece of the puzzle is the operations and all of that stuff that starts to come to life. For you now, what does your team look like, right? You got a business partner, Tony.
That's right. Yeah, we got 17 on our team now.
Yep. Okay.
Touch wood, since we hired our first person 7 years ago, no one's left.
You haven't had one person leave?
0. I thought that was, I thought that was normal. I thought it was normal until I started I told Russell and I told a few people in inner circle and stuff we haven't had anyone leave since our 17 full timers build teams. They're like, what? 0 team churn? I had no reference. I didn't know. I honestly did not know. And I would say about 6 people in our team, they actually came and said, Richmond, I want to work for you. So I don't even, and people were like, how did you hire that person? I don't know. They came to me. They sent me a DM saying I'm looking for work, So we haven't had anyone leave, and I'm trying to reverse engineer that. I don't know if I nailed what it takes to build a team.
What roles? So as you start to scale, what kind of roles? Yeah, talk me through that.
Yeah, the first one is you need a PA. You need a personal assistant that's doing your socials. It's just the basic admin stuff that kind of wears 100 hats, and then they may transition to EA. That's the first step, and we, thank goodness to COVID, we realized that a lot of jobs can be done virtually with the same competency. I was so blown away by everyone working remotely that we still achieved the same results, and after COVID, it made me realize I'm hiring everything offshore now. So most of our team is from the Philippines now. We do have people from South America and stuff. And our marketing manager, she's a beast. And should I say? No, I won't say how much she gets paid. But it's significantly less.
Yeah.
And it's all offshore.
Yeah, it's crazy. Remote teams and the power of it. There's pros and cons though.
Yes, that's correct.
There's pros and cons around time zone, how fast you can move, building that culture, all those bits and pieces that come as well.
Right, yeah. I believe you can build culture virtually. I used to not believe that. And that used to be my limiting belief, but I really do believe you can build culture virtually. I even also believe that you can run virtual events that are better than live events, which is what we've been For me personally, I've stopped doing live events because our virtual is a better experience.
Really? So you don't do any in-person events, only virtual?
We did our last one a couple of months ago. We said, our virtuals, we have really nailed it to create an immersive experience where they lose a sense of time. And the community is nuts, and it's just crazy. Everyone feels like they're there with you. Everyone gets a front row seat.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's crazy. So, want to rewind it for a second. You're not much of a content guy. Why is that?
Yeah. Well, I do maybe I just don't know better. I think it's ignorance, to be honest. If you just, I think if I just spent more time with you, you know what I mean? So. Yeah, maybe I just didn't have someone in my top 5 that's all content. So it's probably ignorance, I'd say. It's not because I choose not to do it.
Yeah, but you've been able to build a sizable business, make a sizable impact without having to create a lot of content. Yeah. However, you see most people that have a personal brand that, do coaching, consulting, digital products, those kinds of businesses that they have a large following.
Yeah, I only post 3 times a week on one platform.
Instagram, yeah.
You were saying, I was posting 15 times a day. Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah, back in the day for founder, yeah.
I post 15 times a month.
Yeah.
So, yeah, maybe I'm completely ignorant to the whole item. I'm not sure.
Yeah. So how have you grown from a traffic? Is it partnerships? Is it pay?
Quality relationships. Like that's for me. Like I don't need 100 leads. I just need 5 leads that have built so much trust before they bought, and then the conversion becomes easy. Like for me, I'm all about numbers in quality and strength and building your loyal 100 or having your top 5 friends, like that kind of stuff. I think that's more powerful, kind of like the movie 300, man, like just 300 strong will destroy a whole army.
Yes.
So that's I think the future is focusing on quality, not quantity. Quantity is going to be a very hard game to win now. Quality is a game that you can win and you can get started right now.
Yeah. So like that's one thing I've definitely noticed since us meeting and just hearing about your business, how everything works and how you help others, is you have a really, really, really strong passion and sense on client fulfillment and results and really making sure that that happens. But if you could put it down to some frameworks for people, how does that look like? What does that look like? Because I think it's one thing to say, okay, this is what I'm going to teach. It's one thing to say, this is what I'm going to teach or coach or help people with. It's another thing to say, okay, I'm going to run something like a tiny challenge model. But talk to me around the delivery, right? Because people get caught up on that delivery, and it doesn't also mean you have to do 101 things. Like you give 101 things. Often, when you come into this game, you're like, I'll give them this and this and this. I'll give this person this and this, and it overwhelms people. Yeah. So talk me through that.
This is a great question. I think this is going to help a lot of people in every industry when it comes to communication and teaching, delivery for whatever industry you're in. So, like in maths, right? So the term lowest common denominator in maths. So if you got the number 20, like 20 can be split up between 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, and 20. Like those are the common round number denominators of 20. What's the lowest common denominator of 20? Well, obviously 1, but 1 is in everything. So what's the next one? It's 2. So 2 is the lowest common denominator in the number 20. If you look at the number 9, what's the lowest common denominator in number 9? 3, because you exclude 1. And so you got a result that you want to deliver, right? A result is like the number 20, the result is like the number 50, or the result is like number 158. What's the lowest common denominator in that result that you're generating for them? Teach them that, they learn that, then they learn the next lowest common denominator. And before you know it, when they understand the lowest common denominator is all made up from this big thing, they can master that big thing easily. That's how Tiny Challenge came about, because I asked them, what is the lowest common denominator? And is there one lower than this? And how do you know they're not getting results from the lowest common denominator that you think it is? There's a step lower than that. It's a lowest common denominator. So it's a principle of simplicity.
Yes. Yeah. So it's all about the quick wins.
Yeah, quick wins in a sense, like not so much like quick rich wins, but like it's like, what's the least friction step that I can take that's going to move me forward?
Yes.
Now.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like the least friction step that I can take.
Yeah. That's, I think, a problem that a lot of people do make in this space. They're really good at marketing, but then that person, gets the program, comes into the, in some way, shape or form, group coaching, one-on-one, whatever it is, or a course. And then you just got like a 2-hour long video.
And just go do it.
Yeah. And it's actually not helpful.
No.
So the way that you do your teaching is around micro steps.
Yes, 100%. And understanding that really the big thing is all based on mastering 3 or 4 of the little things. They're just putting Lego blocks together. Yes. That's it. Understanding that 1 unit Lego block, and then that big result is just putting 5 of them together. Yes. And when you can do 1, you can do 5.
Yeah, I love that, because that's exactly what we do at Founder. Like all of our programs, all of our courses, Our lessons are no longer usually absolute maximum around 10 minutes.
Yeah.
One specific thing that you're going to take, and we break down the modules by outcomes.
Yeah.
So if you look at, starting your e-commerce brand, the first piece of the puzzle is coming up with your idea. Then the first lesson is how to find your idea. Then the second lesson is how to validate. And we just go through step by step. And and there's always an action item. So the way that we teach it is like the what, then the what if, then the why, and then the how, and then the action item.
Yeah, and to your point, like a lot of people think if they overcomplicate it, it makes them look smart. If they make it too simple, I look like an idiot. Like, is that simple? So, like we had a conversation last night, and some of the things you were dropping was like, yeah, it's that simple. It's like, is it that simple? Yes, it is that simple. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. All right, so we have to work towards wrapping up. We covered a lot of ground. Like anybody watching this, listening to this, that want to start a business in the online education, coaching, consulting space, you've got a lot that you can take away. Is there any questions that you wanted me to ask you that I haven't asked you?
Well, that's a great question. Okay, but maybe with some core beliefs that I think would be useful for anyone watching. This is when you're starting out, like in this space, like what would be some core beliefs or fundamentals that would help you succeed more in life or business? Is I say this, like Mark Twain said that two most important days of your life are the day you're born and the day you find out why. And so how do you find your purpose? Understand the three who's. Number one, you need to get clarity on who are you here to serve. Like, who are you here to serve? Yeah, you're here to serve. Like, what kind of clients? That's kind of your avatar. Maybe your small family, your tribe. Like, who are you here to serve? When you get clear on that, that's 1/3 of the way to finding your purpose. Second third is now, who do you want to become? So who do you want to become in this world? And then that's 2/3 of the way there. But then the third who is the most important, which is the belief part, is who am I going to run with in this life? Who am I running with? And that's proximity. And you and I are both Tony Robbins fans, and he always talks about proximity, but you must believe that the most important decision you're going to make in your whole life is who you spend time with, because who you spend time with determines on who you become. Determines on who you're called to serve and how many more people you can reach. Like even me being on this podcast, I know there's going to be so many people watching this that could not have heard about this if I wasn't on this podcast with you. And so that allows more reach to who you serve. And so who you spend time with is the most important thing. And if you believe that's the most important thing in life, you'll be way more successful than anything that you ever do, because it dictates everything in your future, your current state, your values, your beliefs, culture, your success, your health, your relationships. Everything in your life is dictated by the 5 people you spend most time with, period. And so that is my core belief. I call it the 8th wonder, this invisible force that governs everything that you cannot determine because it's your environment. And I even say, like, if you were to cut my hand and my blood poured out and you test my blood type, it'll be 8th wonder. Like it's that's how much I believe it. And that's how my life really changed, because I just up-leveled my peer group. Simple, but it's everything.
Yeah, I agree. I think when I've had the most, with a business and work and career or personal relationships, when I've had the most amount of growth, it's been really forcing myself to learn from other people that I might not, or hang out with people like that. That growth, that extreme growth, comes from that.
Yeah. And it's not comfortable sometimes. Feel like, do I deserve to be here?
And being vulnerable to put yourself in a place where you don't know the answers, or it's not working.
Yeah,
that's not easy.
Not easy. Just being the best student is how I've got through those. Like, okay, I'm around these super successful people, but if I just come in there being the best student mindset, then I'm good. Awesome.
So you recently launched a book. Where's the best place people can find out more about Tiny Challenges?
Tiny Challenge. Yeah, I know. It's over there. Hey, tinychallengebook.com. Tinychallengebook.com. It shows you on how to run a successful tiny challenge, whether you're in the real estate niche, the personal training niche, the expert niche. Is actually getting people buying this book from all different niches, and that I didn't make for, but they're crushing in that niche. So tinychallengebook.com.
Awesome. So yeah, look, creator space is not going to slow down. And I know there's a lot of people out there creating content, and they're looking to monetize, they're looking to do coaching courses, launch a course, launch a program, or consulting. I highly recommend checking out Richmond's Way. So thank you so much, Richmond. Really appreciate your time, man, coming down.
Appreciate you, Nathan.